Hello and welcome to New Filmmakers Los Angeles in partnership with Movie Maker magazine. My name is Danny DeLillo and we're here at the South Park Center and I'm here with Andrew Guerrero with his movie, Come Into Your Own. Let's take a look at the clip.
If you could have a conversation with any animal, what would it be?
Probably the bald eagle.
You should get a sprawling tattoo of one across your chest.
No. A tramp stamp all the way.
Dangerous.
Yeah. What about you?
The elephant. They have deep eyes. I think they hold all the secrets.
I'd want to know what it feels like to fly with, like...
I love the way elephants step. Their whole foot just presses the earth.
Andrew, I'm so excited to have you here today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much and congratulations on your film.
Thank you.
For those that haven't seen it, tell us a brief synopsis.
The film follows a young man who is stuck in the rut of monotony and he's burnt out on it. He's unhappy in his relationship with his boyfriend, and he decides to end the relationship in the middle of his boyfriend's proposal. And he then meets this young woman who is very cultured and experienced, grown up all over the world, and he decides to date her without telling her he's gay, hoping to steal some culture from her, and then that decision leads to consequences, both good and bad.
And why would you want to watch that film? Because it's honestly like I can't believe it. I love this film so much. Like I really did. And I felt like I was like right there with your character. Like I was just like right there experiencing it, and it was just so real. Like it was so real. It just felt like real life. You know, it didn't feel like a movie. It was like real life. And you have an amazing story about how this kind of came about. So just tell us a little bit how he was inspired by making this particular film.
Right. So in 2010, I was thinking a lot about the conflict between the body and the mind, and how what a young gay man might experience having physical relations with a woman for the first time, and how that might confuse a person because the body would potentially like the physical,
right?
But the mind would not, and that conflict, that confusion, I thought would lead for a really great character. And that at the time I wrote it, I was also in a place where I had not yet grown into my authenticity. I was putting away my dreams, switching majors. I had not come to terms with where I was in my religious life. Didn't know who I was.
You're coming of age yourself.
Coming into my own. Barely starting to. And I think that's where the themes kind of developed, and then meshing those two developed what it is.
And I love that, and I think you took such a wondrous, unique turn on how you put this story out there, because I think we've seen stories of maybe the kind of switch of the other way around, of people maybe discovering that, you know, maybe they're gay or maybe they're interested in someone else, but you just took it on this board by almost doing the reversal, but then just having this human connection with someone, which was so powerful. And it was like the first movie I've seen where I suddenly didn't think about sexuality. I just saw these two people connecting through their minds, their spirits, and they didn't even know where it was or what was going on, but they were just on this like beautiful journey. And that was great. Well, I want to talk, before we go into more of that, I want to talk about your amazing cast. There was a really good lead actor. I don't know his name. I think it's Andrew. But I'm just fascinated because you wrote this movie. You ended up directing this movie, and then you decided to play the lead role. My goodness, how did that come about?
Well, I'm an actor. I was trained in the theater. It's always what I've wanted to do. And in this day and age, to be a triple threat, now a triple threat is you gotta write, you gotta produce, you gotta direct, you gotta act. It's not just about singing, dancing, and acting. It's a different kind of triple threat. And we have to be creators. We have to be. And I wasn't gonna wait around for the industry to come to me. I was gonna show the industry I'm here. And so I wrote the film so I could act in it. My best friend, who was supposed to direct it, he's directed all of our stuff our whole life, sadly passed away right before he could. And I decided to take up the mantle. And it turned out pretty well, I think.
Yeah,
he was there. He was there in spirit.
Of course he
Yeah.
was, and it's great because you probably knew his style, and you could incorporate that.
Yeah.
Into,
For sure.
You know,
For
into
sure.
your directing.
For sure.
I mean, that's a tragic but a beautiful thing, and I'm
Yeah.
glad that you know, had a testimony to him as well.
Mm-hmm.
How is it like, you know, obviously you've written this script, you're playing the lead role, you're kind of, do you direct yourself? How does that role kind of?
Yeah. I had an amazing DP. I trusted him a lot. He'd come up to me and say, what do you want it to feel like? And I say, this, it's got to feel like this. We need shots that look like this. I never saw it daily. I just trusted him. I didn't.
Oh, wow.
I also didn't have the time, but
Yeah.
I just trusted him.
Yeah.
And he put together the shots the way I needed to feel them.
Yeah.
And the real magic came when I was able to work with the actors. That was my favorite part.
Yeah.
I trusted them.
Yeah.
And I had to give very little direction.
Yeah.
But occasionally there was times like, oh, let's try this, let's try that.
Yeah.
And it was really just a really synergistic experience.
Yeah, the
Synergistic?
Yeah,
Can I take that back?
Yeah. or we can just use that word and just, you know, put it into the dictionary.
Synergistic. Synergy.
Yeah,
It was,
I like synergistic.
It was
That's great.
synergistic,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
It was that kind of experience where everyone just collaborated and
Yeah.
worked together. And
Speaking of your cast, though,
Yeah.
amazing. Like honestly, they were so likable and you all were very likable. But you just, you know, you're all going such different journeys together, you know. And I love seeing a film where every character is evolving, and you watch that evolvement going through. It wasn't just centered just around your characters. Everyone was going through that.
Yeah,
So
everyone.
Speaking of which, how do you bring the rest of your cast together? Because they were just wonderful.
Yeah. Most of the cast was assembled on Actors Access.
Yeah. It works. There you
Yeah,
go. Yeah.
it worked. It works. The best story I have is how we met our actor who played Audrey, Chelsea Sorensen.
Yes. Beautiful.
Amazing actor.
Yeah.
I was working at a restaurant as a cashier.
Yeah.
She walks in, and I have this gut feeling about her. And I said, "Do you act?" And she goes, "Yes," which she never does. She always tells people no.
Oh wow.
And I said, "Hey, I'm shooting a short film tomorrow. Do you want to be in it?" She said, "Okay." So the next day we shot.
Wow.
In the editing room, I was like, this girl's amazing.
Yeah.
So then I called her and said, "Hey, do you want to be in my feature?" And she was like, "Okay." And that's how we casted Chelsea. Literally the most cliche thing ever. I found her in a restaurant.
Wow.
And that's how we got her. Just had a gut feeling.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Totally amazing.
That is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe that.
Right?
Wow. So I mean, and it's amazing because you couldn't imagine anybody else in that film.
No.
So that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Well, and she goes on quite an amazing journey as well. Now, as I say, like your character particularly, you know, really is very vulnerable and goes through so many different things in the scene. What was it like, kind of like, you know, you really just kind of let yourself just be open to many, many things. How was that kind of experience for you?
Well, having been trained as an actor and in the theater my whole life, that it was normal for me. You know, I'm used to being put in situations like that where I have to experience something new.
Yeah.
This was just another story I got to tell as an actor, and that's always the most important thing.
Yeah.
Is telling the truth of the story.
Yeah.
And just lending myself to that.
Yeah.
But it was really great because at that time I was in school. I had just finished school, and I had put some major blocks up. I decided I was no longer gonna trust my instincts. I was gonna listen to my directors, my teachers, and just do what they taught me.
Yeah.
Right. And I put up some walls because everything they said was God, and I just had to listen to them.
Yeah.
And I wasn't trusting myself.
Yeah.
So then having to wear all these different hats, I didn't have time to think about all that. I just had to snap in and snap out of role as fast as possible. And it brought me back into what I always knew, you know, just trusting my gut, trusting my instincts, and being in the moment, which is what they were trying to teach me anyway.
Well, it is true, but you did it so well. Like, and I mentioned this last night at the festival, but I loved how, you know, you just left us in moments that, you know, as I say, sometimes in films I don't like when they just switch and cut to another, and I want no, I was in that moment with that person, but you left us there almost like uncomfortably long. You know, that I felt like I'm in his pain or I'm in her of pain right now. What are you doing to me?
That's
You were like
awesome.
really manipulating your audience. And I was like,
yes.
I was like, oh my goodness. And so that was so powerful. Was that an intention you're trying to do? Oh yeah,
absolutely.
You were trying to do that to us.
Totally.
Yeah.
I understand that we are in the business of emotion.
Yes.
And I want my audience to feel things. And and being trained in the theater.
Yeah.
I'm used to being right there with an audience.
Yeah.
And I had to figure that, how do I translate that to a lens? And I said, well, let's just not cut.
I love it.
Let's just sit there, right?
Yeah.
It's that easy.
Yeah.
Let's just not cut.
Yeah.
Do we need to cut back to that reverse? No, let's just stay on that person. Let's see what their eyes are telling us.
Yeah.
Right? Or they're not saying anything for 5 minutes. Okay, let's just see them not say anything.
Yeah.
Right? And
well, that's real human life, and sometimes we're just in those zones, and you just kind of left us there. And even if it was just to kind of almost let our imaginations go wild with whatever you're thinking or whatever the character is thinking or what is going through.
I didn't want to hide behind edits.
Yeah.
I didn't want to hide behind cuts. I didn't want to clean anything. I wanted it to be kind of messy.
Well, I think that's what made it so powerful at the end of the day for us, Now, what was your biggest challenge you had in making the film, or, was it pure ease?
I will say that the production was really, and we had speed bumps, but nothing that wasn't handled within an hour.
Wow.
I had an amazing team and an amazing producers who just got things done.
Wow.
I think the biggest challenge was the post, actually. I handled a lot of it myself, having no budget. I had a lot of coloring the film. I did.
Oh, so you're a quadruple threat as well.
Well,
well. My goodness.
Right. I had to help sound mix and do all these things.
Wow.
And I think editing the sound was. I had a great sound engineers. Grammy award-winning sound engineer.
Oh, there you go.
But he had never done a film.
Wow.
Right? And so there was a huge learning curve for us, because for him, he's so used to cleaning everything so perfectly. Let's get everything out and make it just this, right? But with films, especially indie films, you need the mess of the world, because that's what builds the world. And we had to learn to leave things in, leave messy things in, right? And that was a huge learning curve for both of us to understand. So that was probably the biggest challenge, was figuring all that post-work sound stuff out. That was definitely tough.
Well, I think you're an amazingly intelligent filmmaker, and I think this story is extremely important. I think for so many different reasons. I love the fact that he's a gay man, but you show him in this really wonderful closeness with his great, best friend, and this guy just accepts him for him and goes along with him, and that's such a nice, encouraging thing to see, as well, that he's there with you and he plays the character wonderfully, and then just to sort of see this human connection between two people, as opposed to anything that's revolved in sexuality. It was so refreshing, like just spiritually refreshing, and I've never seen a film that's like that, and particularly because this was in the LGBTQ plus program, there's very few films that have the sort of like questioning part of that program or part of that, and I think your film really had that, and it's okay just to kind of go through your own discoveries as a human.
Yes, as a human,
and what did you want your audience to get, when you're right, what did you want your audience to get from this?
Right, I think what you've been saying, we've seen, especially in this time and age, it's important that everyone has a voice, right? And we're seeing that like no other time period ever, and it's amazing. But I also don't want it to become cliche. We need to have representation. People need to have representation, everyone. But I don't want us to forget that we are human. And it doesn't matter if you're gay or straight or black or white or whatever. We need to just love each other. And we need to have human experiences. Right? And I think that's what I wanted to touch on most. Like you said, it wasn't about him having sex with a woman for the first time. It was about him connecting to an individual who showed him a different part of himself. And then realizing that he was making love with ideas. And that he discovered, oh my gosh, this is something unique. This is something different for me. This is something dangerous to me. And still knowing who he really is, knowing who he is, but discovering that journeys are subjective.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Journeys are subjective.
Yeah.
Go on yours.
Yeah.
That's it.
And stop putting things in boxes. And you know, we just keep doing this all the time. It's part of human nature. We have to put things in boxes to try and suss things out. And I love that you almost just open things wide up.
You have to.
You know, we subconsciously forgot, and it wasn't important about these boxes or trying to work things out or work what the characters are going through. It was just their journey, you know.
It's just a journey, a human journey.
What was the experience like at New Filmmakers LA last night?
Man,
having your film in front of the audience. What was that experience like?
So freaking exciting! It was like, it felt like I've always imagined these things to feel like. I feel like I've been preparing myself in my imagination my whole life, but. New Filmmakers is so great because there's a real familial community there. I didn't know you before yesterday, but I felt like I'd known you, right? And everyone who was part of it was just like, hey, what can we do to help your experience? And it is an amazing film festival. It's well known, but low key enough where I wasn't stressed. Everything was running like clockwork. I didn't have to freak. I could just enjoy being with people I loved and watching something I created. And I think that was the best part, was you guys provide a place for people to just enjoy good, fresh pieces of art with people they love. I think that's the best.
That's the epitome of what we try and do. I have to get the Kleenex out because that was really that was very emotional. No, that means a lot to us and to all of the team, because that's really what we try and do, and give a platform to the next generation of emerging brilliant filmmakers, and that's certainly you, Andrew. What is next for you?
I'm writing a pilot right now, looking to get that produced. That should be fun. Working on more auditions, working on promoting this film, trying to get as many eyes on it as possible, and just again creating as much as I can so that people could see it. People know I exist. You know,
people know, but people need to see it. And I think one of the things that you mentioned earlier in the conversation is that you didn't just wait for it to happen. You got it there, you wrote it, you put it out there. You put yourself in it, you used all of the great qualities and made a feature film. And
that's what I want people to understand, is that anyone can do this, right? We didn't have a big budget. We didn't have a lot of time. I don't say this to brag. I say this to let you guys know that you can do this. We only had $4,000, and we only had 23 days to make it, right? But we made a feature. And it's the number one lesson I learned was ask. People in LA are so willing to help.
It's
right?
true.
And if you want to make a feature film, you so can here. Even if you don't have any money. You totally can. And with it, and there's no excuses. Just go make it. Just go make your work. You can here.
I love it. I love it. Everyone that's watched this now, like, that's it. I'm gonna go and do this.
do it.
Andrew told me I can do it. I can do it. Andrew, I'm so happy you came here today, and thank you so much for your film. Come into your own. You got to see it. It's gonna really change you in such a powerful way. So thank you, Andrew, for being here.
Thank you.
Coming into your own, everybody. There you go.